Hey ladies and gents, welcome to some breaking news for the new update file 2.2.0. So this is for eFootball 2023 of course. Now I just want to run through or skip through some of these parts, like the additional features just around, you know, the match pass, etc. Don't really want to talk too much about this. What I want to focus on is this right here: gameplay fixes and adjustments. I'm going to run through each of the topics, the sort of main topics, which is you're going to see here, like dribbling, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of a think and feel about what I think this actually and how this is going to impact the game in a positive or negative manner. So the first one is implemented enhancements to the response when switching between a normal and a dash dribble. Implemented adjustments so that when switching between a normal dribble and a dash dribble, the directional inputs will now be reflected in a more correct manner. Reduce the application of inertia for small angle turns during a dash dribble. Implemented adjustments so that when dribbling past an opponent, it is now less likely for the player to make contact and trip over. Fix the issue where ball touches cannot be performed smoothly when doing a sharp touch, and implemented adjustments so that when performing a kick command right after attempting a large angle turn in a dribble, the kick can now be performed more easily. Fix the issue where staying passes are difficult to trigger in dribble when opposition players are near. So what this says to me is that the dribbling is going to become more responsive, especially around what they say here: reduce the application of inertia for small angle turns during a dash dribble. This is hopefully going to make, you know, tight, close dribbling a little bit more responsive, perhaps going back to the version 1 days, because that was one of the issues I had. Like doing a 180 turn, even with the likes of Neymar, it just felt too slow, too cumbersome, and yeah, and also the accuracy of the dribble, like the directional inputs, will be reflected in a more correct manner. I love the fact that, you know, they are focusing on trying to get the dribbling to go where you're actually pointing the left stick. Sometimes it can feel a little bit on rails, so hopefully that's going to take away that feeling, give you, the user, more control over where you're dribbling. And also this right here: implemented adjustments so that when performing a kick command right after attempting a large angle turn in a dribble, the kick can now be performed more easily. Yes, often you would try and change direction and then you'd input a kick command and it just wouldn't respond to your inputs. Your player would just run out of play like a freaking moron. So hopefully these aspects around the dribbling are going to fix a lot of the problems that I have with the game. Now we're on to page 2, so let's go and cover the passing aspect. Increase the overall speed of low passes. Implemented adjustments for low passes so that the cursor will now switch to a more suitable teammate. Implemented adjustments so that a more suitable kicking motion will be triggered when attempting a pass near opposition players. Implemented adjustments for through passes so that the passes will now be played towards a position that is easier for the teammate to receive. Fix the issue regarding the loose ball situations where kicks and passes cannot be performed even if the player is first to the ball. So let's talk about the overall speed of, the overall speed of low passes. At the minute, they are a little bit heavy, which means that the sort of tiki-taka style is not very well received, to be honest, because players can just, the way the players just close you down is just far too easy, and it just makes the whole defending aspect of this game far too easy, because your players generally take, those passes are too slow to be received in short spaces, and anyone just holding RB, so the player press button, is just going to tackle your player very, very quickly. So hopefully that increase of speed of the low passes is going to alleviate that. Obviously it's going to help if we can receive the ball better as well. So, and from what I've heard, it does feel far more fluid, so it'd be interesting to see just how that feels. Now, one of the things I'm not happy about in eFootball 2023 are the through passes, and they've said they've implemented adjustments for through passes so the passes will now be played towards a position that is easier for the teammate to receive. Now, one of the big issues for me with through passing is that on the obviously the level 1, 2 and 3, the passing is just so assisted that it doesn't matter where your opponent tries to block a passing lane. The defender will be nullified no matter what, because the pass will always be automatically guided so it avoids the defender. And I really hate that about eFootball 2023. I hate the fact that no matter if you position your defender perfectly to intercept the pass, the through ball will go in a way where the player will receive the ball regardless, because he will pass it to avoid that defender. And I absolutely hate that. So I'm hoping what this means around the through passes is that even though it's going to be passed to your teammate in a better way to receive the ball, it isn't going to automatically avoid the defender. You still have to understand where that ball is going to go if you press the through pass. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. But a lot of the times I find that the through passing in this game just literally picks the spot right between the defenders, and you'd want it to do that in a way, but it's so automated, it literally takes out any form of skill. Moving on to the shooting, implemented enhancements to players with the player skill dipping shot and rising shot, so attempts of those shots will be more accurate. That's pretty good because obviously those shots do tend to be less accurate and pretty much pointless unless you're winning like 3 or 4-0 and want to score a little bit of a special goal. Implemented adjustments so that when attempting a shot with the ball in mid-air, both a normal shot and a stunning shot attempt will now trigger a dipping trajectory. That's nice. So they've changed the ball physics around shots that are in mid-air. I mean, if they're all going to dip, that's not all that realistic in my opinion, because not all shots that you strike when the ball's in mid-air dip significantly. Sometimes they will be driven. If you're not face on, you're sideways to the ball and you volley that ball, it's not going to dip all that much. So hopefully there are going to be different forms of trajectory. Otherwise, if they're all dipping shots like they were in, I think it was PES 2019, it just gets a little bit stale. Implemented enhancements to the accuracy of first time shots off low passes from diagonally behind. Yep, one of the issues, like if you do a cutback from, even if you're like on the byline to someone in the 6-yard box, the amount of times your player would miss that first time shot was incredibly high. So it was almost imperative that you had to have first time shot on all your players, especially the sort of forward players. So hopefully that's now going to be fixed, which is great to see. Implemented adjustments that when attempting a shot against an empty goal, the shot on target rate is now higher. Another thing, yep. So like very similar to what I just said. If you pass the ball into like a player who's got an empty net, how often they would miss would be staggeringly high. So it's good to see that they've now increased the chances of scoring open goals. Defense implemented adjustments so that the cursor will switch to a more appropriate player in defensive situations. I don't need to explain this one, but that's definitely going to be a good big improvement around defending, because obviously I feel like I'm wrestling with the controller to try and get the player that I want selected, so that's going to be good. Implement adjustments so the cursor will switch to a more appropriate player when defending oncoming mid-air balls such as lofted passes and clearances. Again, any form of improvement to player switching and cursor switching is going to be a massive help to this game. Fix the issue where directional inputs are not thoroughly reflected during a matchup in defensive situations, and that I can definitely attest to. I use the matchup button probably more than most, and the directional inputs sometimes get left behind in those defensive situations and your player just doesn't do what you're asking him to do. He feels like he's stuck to some sort of hidden rails underneath their feet. Fix the issue where players who perform man marking during a corner kick may not deal with the oncoming ball in an adequate manner. Absolutely. Corner kicks, like I always find the players who are defending the corner do not do a good enough job. It always tends to be the attacking player that tends to get on the end of crosses, in my opinion. So 9 times out of 10, it's just best to swing the ball into the box. And if you get a good delivery, you're 9 times out of 10 are going to win that header. Fix the issue where defending players may unnaturally move away from the goal after the corner kick is taken. Yes, totally agree. Honestly, like players leave huge gaps when sometimes clearing the ball, and it's just very, very weird. I think what it is because it's built in. They've got this code built in where players, it's like when you have a shot on goal, and as soon as you shot, all your players sprint back in position, and the same is happening from corners. So they're trying to sprint into position, but obviously they don't understand that a corner kick's just been taken. So that's really good to see. Next up is the goalkeeper. Implemented adjustments so in the case of penalty kicks, it is now easier for goalkeepers to save pacey shots or shots towards the edge of the goal and parry them away from goal. I haven't had all that many penalties because there's hardly any fouls in this game, so I can't really say much around this one in all honesty, but it's an improvement apparently, which is great. Other gameplay enhancements and implemented adjustments so that the player who makes the run in a 1-2 pass forwards will no longer decelerate unnecessarily. This has been a big problem in PES 2020, PES 2021, so that's going to be good because often you find that you play the 1-2 and your player slows up for no apparent reason. So you see him sprinting, you think, oh, he's going to be there when I release this ball, and suddenly he slows up and whether that's trying to stay on side or not, I don't know what was causing it, but it sounds like they fixed that anyway. So that's a good point. So the players are going to make forward runs a lot better. Implemented adjustments that teammates who make forward runs will now take the offside line and the ball holder's body position into account and adequately decide to decelerate or stay put. So whilst they have fixed the 1-2 issue, those that are making forward runs with those high offensive awareness and goal poacher styles, they are actually going to take everything into account and do their best to stay on side, which is really good to see. Implemented adjustments to the player positioning of players for the team play style out wide so that teammates will not move too far forward and run a greater risk against counterattacks. Now they did something similar to the possession style and it absolutely freaking killed it in my opinion. So hopefully for those who are playing the out wide playstyle, hopefully this isn't going to have too much of a negative impact on you, because I found that I wanted my team high up the pitch to play a possession style. Now there's a huge gap between defence and midfield, and it's very, very difficult to get your defence and midfield back in between to cover and protect your defence. So hopefully this could possibly be a negative for those playing the out wide playstyle. Implemented adjustments to the positioning of players so that players placed in the middle of the park in the game plan will be less likely to venture out into a wide position. On the same note, players placed on the flanks will be more likely to stay in a wide position. That's really good, because I do find that players just tend to drift all over the place, regardless of where you're putting the players on the game plan sheet. So that sounds like it's going to adhere more to the game plan than it has before, which does mean that wherever you place your players on that team sheet, that game plan, that actually has an impact, whether they're closer together, further apart. So make sure you get those game plans just set just right. Implemented adjustments to the positioning of players for the team play style out wide so that teammates will not move too far forward and run a great risk of counterattacks. I swear I've just read this before, so I'm going to skip over this. Implemented adjustments so that fullbacks will now attempt overlapping runs in an adequate frequency in line with the configured team play style, as well as their positioning when they're on the opposite side of the ball. I honestly thought the fullbacks weren't that bad, so it'd be interesting to see just how much this impacts the fullbacks when we look at the gameplay on Wednesday. Fix the issue where shoulder charges from a seemingly illegal angle, such as diagonally behind, are not called as fouls. Thank freaking goodness. The shoulder charge was just driving me insane. Everyone's using it, everyone's spamming it like a freaking, highly caffeinated kid. Honestly, it needs to be nerfed, and hopefully this will result in far more fouls. So those of you who are abusing the shoulder charge, you're going to have to learn how to defend, my friends. So that's a great bit of news regarding the shoulder charge. It was just too overpowered. It's something I've been complaining about for the longest time. So hopefully, Konami are watching my videos and they are taking the feedback on along with everything else. Fix the issue regarding throw-ins where teammates on the other side of the pitch may go across the pitch and make themselves available for the throw. I've not seen that, to be honest, but that is pretty bad if that happens. Implemented adjustments so that players will adequately dodge away from teammates and their oncoming shots. That's good, because the amount of times I take a shot and my own player is in the way of the ball and gets called for offside is far too high. So the fact they're actually going to look to move out of the way of my ongoing shots is great to hear and see. Okay, that is pretty much it for the gameplay changes. I am going to be having a good go on Wednesday. I may even live stream and see where we go from there. So yeah, from reading these patch notes, I have to say I'm really looking forward to this update. I didn't think I would. A lot of people asked, am I hyped about version 2.2? I didn't expect so much to be fixed regarding the gameplay, to be honest. I just thought it was going to be more packs, the season pass, and a bunch of other things, just supposedly more in brackets content. But yeah, I did not expect all these gameplay changes. Looking forward to testing it, looking forward to trying it out. And yeah, I will be live streaming possibly on Wednesday. If not, then I would be definitely getting you a first impressions video very, very soon on Wednesday morning. Okay, that's all for me, ladies and gents. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And until next time, guys, take care, stay safe, bye-bye.